Hello and welcome to all the men and women of the West. I'm Joe, here from my co-host Stan.
Hello and greetings.
And today we're discussing a really disastrous WoW affair. Yes, WoW. Not love, but WoW. This is probably going to be the most disastrous of the love stories we discuss this 1 month long kind of event period for the channel. The romance between Arthas and Jaina began when they were young, was very passionate, and took place before she really left for the Citadel of Magic, and Arthas really began an intense paladin training period. Problem, though, I would argue, is that ultimately the two were not, in my opinion, very compatible at their core. There was a fundamental difference in values on the parts of both of them, and a totally different status between them, because she's the daughter, yes, a very high-ranking captain, but Arthas was the crown prince. And with this status on the part of Arthas came an awareness of the obligations and responsibilities that come with being crown prince of the most powerful of all kingdoms of the alliance. In the game, Arthas is rather keen to introduce his men to Jaina. He's very proud of her and very pleased to have run into her again. They work together for a short time before they discover that the plague of the undead has been spread through the food, so that when you ingest it, you become undead, which leads Arthas to the decision, when the time comes for when Stratholme is completely infected, that the city must be purged.
And this is when the collapse of the relationship really begins. The Stratholme incident highlights the different values that Arthas and Jaina have. Arthas is a prince and a royal through and through. He's been raised to make very hard choices from the very time he could walk. While she knows that this is the only choice, but she doesn't want to make it. So she runs away and hides until everything has already been resolved. At least in regards to Stratholme, is something of a, rather than stand up to Arthas or to try to defy this decision or to help with it, or to try to mitigate it in some capacity, she hides. Intellectually, she knows he is right, but emotionally, she can't deal with it. Regardless your opinions on Stratholme, if we look at this incident as a metaphor for making hard decisions in a relationship, the difference is that Arthas is a little bullheaded and charges straight into the hard decision, while Jaina flees from it, so that you have a fight or flight instinct which separates them. Arthas would prefer to fight and quarrel, and in some ways this is the healthier route to take, although Arthas takes it to an extreme point. Jaina, on the other hand, prefers to flee from it, basically hide from it. Neither of these reactions is particularly healthy, but looked at directly, Stratholme as an incident is the catalyst for the total annihilation of their relationship, because there can't be a relationship after such a moment, with Arthas having bloodied his hands and lost all faith in himself. But this shows that despite, for example, Jaina's sense of obligation to those people, at least their lives, she doesn't have the moral courage or the sense of duty to stand up for them. This shows a lack of will, a lack of strength, which, regardless of right or wrong, willpower, as Ra's al Ghul once said, is everything. But to lack it shows a lack of faith in her own arguments, and thus she doesn't even truly believe in her own stance, because she just balks and runs. Thus does Jaina lack moral courage, that is to say, the courage to stand up for what she believes in, to stand up for others, which is a necessary quality for a queen or any royal to have. Now, I'm not saying that all royals are icons of purity. No. All I'm saying, though, is that it's a job that requires hard decisions, and that it requires a certain amount of duty to the nation, and it revolves around other people. So if you don't have the stones to make certain hard decisions, given the stakes that were currently at stake for Lordaeron and Arthas, what this means is the relationship was, quite frankly, doomed. Let's be honest, though, Jaina as an archetype was something of a rising magician of sorts. She was essentially the daughter archetype of the triangular goddess archetype type of figure, and she had to rise to her fullness, that is to say, the magician in her fullness. At least by the end of Warcraft 3, she has reached this point. And if we actually take things further, we can say that the love story between Jaina and Arthas was not a complete catastrophe. As shown in WoW, they did a spectacular job on at least this front. When the player checks out the items of the Lich-king, they could find on Arthas the locket of Jaina. So obviously Arthas treasured this, which it means that what kept him redeemable, possibly, was his love for Jaina. Therefore, she did redeem him. And so, was the romance a total failure, or was it something that helped to save Arthas in the end? Well, I'll leave it to you all to decide. So if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to smash that like and that subscribe button, as though you were Death Knight Arthas taking down Sylvanas.